Hi, my name's Keith Perelli. I'm an artist from New Orleans, and I'm excited to be part of the collection at the Alexandria Museum of Art. It's really exciting to share this rather large work, um, which has a connection to art history by the artist Edouard Manet. His famous controversial painting has been sort of replicated or commented on by many artists, including Picasso. So, not that I'm comparing myself to Picasso, but there was, an interesting thing about the painting, and that it was controversial because there was a nude female in it, and that's why it's called The Bathers, or LeBain originally. And but it's actually called Luncheon in the Grass, Le Déjeuner sur l'herbe. I think I said that right. And it was controversial because it figured a female who wasn't in a mythological context, or it wasn't about an allegory or story. And so these were very contemporary people at the turn of the century. So the painting was considered to be controversial. It's also very large in scale, which goes along with this idea of the monumental show, because it made the figures larger than life, and they, fully encompassed your periphery. You became engulfed almost in this painting. And I thought that that was an interesting way to kind of like captivate the viewers, because it kind of makes you feel like you're a participant in it, or you become like one of the people in the forest with these people at an innocent picnic. But yet again, there's controversy in the piece. But I thought it was an interesting work to choose to actually create sort of some parallels to some of my own experiences in life, and thinking about sort of being on public display. This piece kind of features some ideas about relationships and being, brought into social media context. So therefore, there's a lot of references to being watched or being seen. And the thing that I found interesting about the process for this piece was I used a lot of muted camouflage kind of colors. And so it's almost like the bathers in my painting, which kind of form a triangular composition, kind of like fade into the scene, where they, even though they're vulnerable, they're the center of the tension in the painting, like Manet's. In my case, I wanted them to kind of like fade into that, almost like they were avoiding being noticed. Again, in the context of, certain relationships being aired on social media, which is, affects many people nowadays. So that was sort of like my modern take on creating this painting, which is actually called a monotype. If you guys would like to know something about monotype printmaking, it's actually a form of printmaking. You paint on plexiglass. So there's, in this case here, the whole painting was created on multiple sheets of like 18 by 24 plexiglass. And so you paint with inks, and then the inks can be added, subtracted. You use conventional tools such as like Q-tips. And if you see the painting, you'll notice there's a lot of impressions of leaves. In my opinion, I think nature is perfect, beautiful, and it's like mathematical symmetry and proportions and so forth. So although I've spent my whole life imitating form, I thought it would be interesting in printmaking to actually use real, materials from my garden, such as, chard or, plant leaves and so forth, because the veining on the leaves actually creates some really interesting qualities when they're pressed into the plate, and you can, roll over them with a brayer, and so they actually subtract ink. So if you're looking at the painting, you'll see that there's many different leaves, there's ferns, all these things came from my garden. And there's some like garbage and detritus from our everyday lives, such as like onion bags. And I always thought that those are really cool because they almost create like a serpentine kind of scale effect. So the figures, can either be a little like slithery, if you notice the ones that are horizontal in the painting. They're laying flat, almost like the grass in the luncheon is coming to life. Again, sort of like watching these people and having their picnic. And then if you look in the background, you'll see that there are flowers towering over the figures with eyes to them. So it's kind of an interesting little play of like almost like a Where's Waldo kind of thing, where the longer you look at the painting, the more you realize that this grouping of people, although they're obvious at first, are being, surrounded and watched by all this other audience around them. So I thought it was an interesting kind of comparison to the way that the painting originally created a stir and people, rejected it. It was scandalous, and then it becomes one of our most beloved paintings in the world. So therefore, I think that's one reason why artists are attracted to art history in the context of, seeing older ideas or things, from the past in a new light based on, society, and have things changed much, or are they similar? So I think that's always interesting, and that's a great resource for museums in that they're educational, and we can see one thing, in a live person, which is such a difference than, just seeing something in a book.